Welcome to Right Side Trading, where you can learn how to trade on the right side with confidence. Today is December 4th, 2016. It is a Sunday evening at 6 o'clock p.m., and we are here to talk about the weekly market review. But before I do so, let me direct your attention to the bottom of our webpage. If you click to our disclosure and disclaimer statement, the section I want to highlight is this area right here that talks about our products and services being provided solely for educational purposes. Our written and verbal statements, including those provided on our website by our staff members, testimonial individuals, affiliates, and clients, and are personal judgments and should be regarded as such. These written and verbal statements do not constitute investment advice. The government does want us to let you know that we are not licensed financial advisors, so please, before you make any trading or investment decisions, make sure you consult the advice of licensed financial advisors. We are just simply people who look at charts and give you our opinion as to what we see. All right, so now that that's been said, let's go to the chart of the week, and we start off with the SPX as we always do. And what are we looking at? Okay, so last week was the first time since the election that we had a pullback right here. The election started from back over here. This is election week. This green candle right here was actually election day, or at least the day after election. And then we've had a really good solid run to the top, and we started taking profits. If you guys noticed, I had been talking about the fact that you do not want to take any profits as long as the lows keep on making higher lows. And we had that up until this. That was last week, Monday. And I told people, I said, now is the time that you want to start exiting your trades, taking your profit, tighten up your stops and stuff like that. If you had done that, you would have saved yourself from, this little pullback that we had right here. And I say little because, hey, if you got in when we said you should get in, which is down over here, trust me, this pullback right here is nothing in comparison to what you've made over here. So very good for those who were able to take part of that. The question now becomes, what should we expect going forward? Because again, there's nothing we can do about making money in the past. That's what right side trading is all about, is anticipating moves in the future so we can position ourselves to make money that way. So what we are looking at is we definitely have a pullback. That's true. The question is this the end of the pullback? Is it going to continue going back further going further down? That's what we need to figure out. So our analysis begin by looking at what is the chart telling us. So the first thing we have to look at is the fact that, right over here, we are beginning to see some kind of like, a stall, in the sense that the candlesticks are showing us some kind of a very small, I wouldn't really consider it, but let's just say, it's a Harami signal, but it's very, very insignificant, I would say. We have about 4 steps that we follow whenever we look at candlesticks, and it's not meeting our step number 3. Okay, so for those of you guys who know our 4 steps, step number 3 has not been met right here. And so for that reason, even though we see a candlestick reversal signal, it's not showing strength. Okay, so we have to be aware of that. However, on the other hand, is the fact that when we look at the pattern that we're looking at, and what I want to highlight your attention to is this right here, which is the previous high that we had before. Okay, so the fact that we had a market pull back, go up, break above this level right here. Okay, when it broke above that level, it's not uncommon for us to see a retest of this area before it starts going higher. So we'll like to see what happens on Monday. There's a possibility that we might get another candlestick signal, which is a morning star candlestick signal. If we get that morning star candlestick signal, that might be the clue that we need to tell us that this market is ready to go higher. But until then, we just literally have to wait. We have to see, I have to wait until the end of Monday to see what happens on Monday, okay? And if we get that morning star signal, chances are very likely that we'll be having a reversal back to the top side. Why is that? Again, because we have the pattern where once the breakout occurs, we typically see a pullback before it starts going higher. So what you're seeing here is maybe a rally, a drop, and then, or a pullback, I should say, a pullback and then next phase higher. Okay, so if that was to take place, that would be what we'll be expecting, is that this is now beginning to form and maybe coming to an end, ready to go higher. But we need to see what happens on Monday. Monday would definitely tell us whether or not we should be buying Tuesday morning or we should still sit on the sidelines. All right, so that being said, that's for the SPX. There's really nothing more to that. When we go to the weekly chart, we can see we have a bearish Harami signal, okay? But again, we have to look at this in context of the sense that we are looking at a bearish Harami signal. Let's duplicate this line right here. I want to bring this around here. So we're looking at a bearish signal. Okay, so we need some kind of confirmation to make sure that it really is going down. But chances are very slim that it is going to go down. We need something with, I mean, in this case, we'll literally have to wait till Friday. So what am I saying? So Monday, we can see whether or not we're having a reversal that's going to take it back up. And by Friday, we'll know for sure whether this market is really going to go down week to week. But the one thing you can do is you can take these lines, and what I want you to do is look at it like this. You put it at the top right there, and then you take another line, and you put it at the bottom right here, okay? And at the end of Friday next week, okay, this Friday coming up, if the market should close below here, we can expect the market to go down. If the market should close above here, we can expect the market to go up. It's as simple as that, okay? So unfortunately, you just have to wait to see what happens until then. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. There was an example that I saw in the past here. Where was it? Oh, right here. Okay. So if we look right here, all right, let's do this real quick. This is an example of what we're talking about. If you had a line, we have a bearish signal. We put a line right here. Oops, what did I just do? Where is this thing again? Okay, right here. Okay. So what you do is you put a line right here at the top, and you put a line right here at the bottom. And if it closes below here, we know that the market is trying to go lower. If it closes above there, we know that the market is trying to go higher. The interesting thing is you have to wait till that Friday because this is a weekly chart. If you go to the daily chart again, maybe we'll be able to get in a little bit sooner. That tells us this. Well, once this told us that this was going higher, then, you know, we saw the market at least for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks go higher instead of lower. Okay? All right. So that is that on the SPX. If we go to the Nasdaq, I want to go to the Nasdaq first because the Nasdaq has been the one that showed the weakest signs, which is this right here. Okay, not a good sign for the Nasdaq. All right, and part of the reason is that once this breakout occurred right here, we don't typically like to see the stock come back in. Now it would have been okay if it stayed up top, rested right above this line, and then bounced back up. But for it to close right back into that, that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign for the Nasdaq. So we have to be careful with that. However, if you go to the daily chart, there's something I need you to see. When you understand how to draw lines on your charts, you will see something that is unique in the sense that if we take this line right here, okay, previous high that we had, all right, and you connect it with this close right here like that, okay. So what I did was I connected this with this close and with this one right here. And then if you extend this to the right, okay, we can see that right now price is literally, you know, resting on this line right here. All right, for some of you guys who might have some issues with the way I drew this, what we can do is we can compensate by say let's turn it into a zone and say that as long as price is inside the zone right here, okay, or maybe we can even bring this down a little further and say we want to capture this right here. You know, any way you want to draw that, okay. The fact is we are in an area where, you know, price broke out of this resistance that we had right here, which acted as resistance right there, but then broke out and now is retesting it, okay? So even though on the SPX we had a horizontal resistance retest where price went higher and then now it's sitting down like this. Oops, let's do this again, okay? What we've seen is on the Nasdaq, we have something similar. The price broke out like this, and now it's sitting on this. So the fact that this is horizontal and the fact that this is diagonal is still kind of telling us the same thing. That is a pattern that we see, and that is something that we see also in a Russell. Okay. Well, actually, I take that back. Not what we see in the Russell. I'm not sure what it was I was looking at earlier. But as far as the Russell is concerned, this is the area that we have to look for. As far as the Russell is concerned, so we still have a little bit more room for the Russell to come down if it is going to retest this. Let me look at this on the weekly time frame, and there was something I was looking at on the Russell. Not sure what I saw again, but anyways, long story short, on the Russell, here is the level that we do not want to see the Russell go below. Okay, right here, as opposed to like this level right here. That would be the secondary level. You want to see that the Russell comes down here and maybe bounce back up again. All right. On the weekly time frame, the Russell is also showing some kind of reversal signal. We have to be aware of that. So do not say that you were not aware of it. But at the same time, we just have to be careful and see that at the same time, there's a possibility that the Russell might actually, start heading higher. Where do I see that? Well, if I take this little line right here, okay, which is the highest that it went, let me remove these for you guys. We'll remove these lines right here, and I say when the Russell was going higher and higher and higher, this is one where it went higher, okay? Prior to that, we had higher closes, so the close on this candle was higher than this close. The close on this candle was higher than that one. The close on this was higher than that one, so forth and so forth and so forth, okay? And then when we got over here, it kind of took a break a little bit, okay? And then it proceeded going higher again. So when I look at this right here, I'm sorry, not the close. I didn't mean the close. I meant the high. Yeah, the high of this was higher than this one. The high of that was higher than this. The high of that was higher than this. The high right there is higher than that. So we have higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, and we also having higher lows. So for the first time, when we got over here, the higher high stopped, okay, for about 2 days before it started resuming higher highs again. Okay, so for that reason, we can draw a line right there where that last higher high was before the break took place, and then we started another leg to the upside. Now we've come back to that same area where now there's a potential for a reversal. So again, depending on what happens on Monday, candlestick formations will kind of give us an idea of whether or not it's going to go higher. At the latest by Friday, we'll know for sure whether this market is going to go up. Now, there's two things that is affecting this, that at least that we anticipate could affect this market from a non-technical point of view, which we usually don't try to go in that direction. But if it's an event that is going to affect the market big, like the election did, we do kind of have to take that a little bit into consideration. But for the most part, the charts will still tell us what to do. All right, so that's about as far as we'll go. As far as I won't even call it fundamentals, because this is just more so event-driven activities. And there's two events that are coming up pretty soon that could affect the way this market reacts over the next 2 to 3 weeks. I won't tell you both of those. I'll tell you at least one, which is what we call the Santa Claus effect. Okay. And we teach the Santa Claus effect. You can go to sign up with us and find out about that. As far as the second one is concerned, I won't mention what that is because I teach that only to our students. But if you do want to know what it is, email us at info@rightsideTrading.com. Let me give you that email address. It is info@rightsideTrading.com. If you email us on this and just ask the question, what is that second event in December that affects the market going higher, we will tell you what that is without telling you anything whatsoever. But at the end of the day, there are two events that we have to keep in mind that might affect this market, and this is why we're kind of anticipating that, there's a possibility that we'll see some kind of reversal right here. So be prepared for that, okay? So there's a case for the bulls and a case for the bears, but you need to know what to be looking for when that happens. Again, if those two events does take place and start bringing the market back up again, we'll see some kind of candlestick reversal signal. This would be the perfect area for that to happen come Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll see this go up. No later than by, I would say, so we have Monday, Tuesday, no later than Wednesday, we should see some kind of reversal taking place. If not, then there's a chance that it's going to come back down over here, okay? And then finally, we go to the next one, which is the Dow Jones Industrial. Okay, we can see that there's a lot of strength still in the Dow Industrial. Excuse me. If we go to the weekly chart, we can see that there's no pullback as far as the Dow Jones Industrial is concerned. And so there's a chance for it to just keep on going higher is what we're looking at. Right now, the Dow Jones Industrial is still making higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Let me go back to the SPX and point out something as well. And that is the fact that on the SPX, if I remove this, let me remove this line right here. What I want to point out is even though we have this bearish rally, notice the fact that we still having higher lows. Okay, it's the same concept that I was talking about when we had a post-election rally, and I said until we see a lower low, we can anticipate this market as far as a bullish trend is concerned. We can anticipate a bullish trend to keep on going higher. Maybe this is just a rest before the next wave going higher. Okay. Market cannot go on forever. It has to take a break and then keep on going higher. But the key point is the fact that we've had a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low on a weekly chart. So chances are still more in favor of the bulls, saying that this market is going to go higher. If we look at the Nasdaq, I believe that the Nasdaq was the only one that has shown that big weakness, and that's why I said out of all of them, the Nasdaq is the weakest one. But very interesting that it's still coming into that area where it could potentially reverse and go higher. If we go to the Russell, we can see same thing with the Russell. We've had that lower low, but at the same time, it's coming right back. It's bouncing right back off of that line, which we were able to capture from the daily chart. Okay, so keep that in mind as you watch that. And so going back to the Dow Jones Industrial on the weekly chart, we can see that we have not had any pullback on the weekly chart of Dow Jones Industrial just yet. Okay. And then finally, if we go to the Dow Jones Transportation Index, which is the fifth of the 5 that we look at, we can see that it's acting similar to what we've seen in the on the Dow Jones. Very beautiful chart. We've had the breakout that occurred right here. Oops, wrong one. We've had the breakout that occurred since back over here. Okay, and the market is doing exactly what we anticipated to do. Now the only question is whether it will come up here and break this high that it had right there. I'm not sure if it's the all-time high, but that high right there. Let's see for a second. Pretty much. Yeah, this could be the all-time high on the Dow Transportation as well. Excuse me. So watching for this to take place and break above this is a very strong possibility that this would actually happen. Okay, so we just have to wait and see what happens. But if we're to say, okay, how do we see this market 50-50, you know, 40-70, 40-60, 30-70 in favor of the bull, or is it the other way around? We'll look at this more so like maybe we'll say a 70-30, maybe 65-40, 35, 65-35, 70-30 chance that the bulls would actually reign. The market would go higher. Okay, we do have to be careful because there are signs that shows bearish, so we have to be aware of that, but also signs that are showing bullish. Okay, Monday will kind of give us an idea as to like where we see this going. No later by Wednesday, we'll know for sure. We'll have a good idea as far as like on a day-to-day basis. But worst case scenario, by the end of Friday next week, we'll have a very clear picture as to like whether this market is trying to go up or down, or maybe it needs another week before it makes its decision. Okay, so but I would say that, you know, if you haven't tightened up your stops, you want to definitely tighten up your stops on some of those trades that have been going up. Would I go in and start, you know, shorting this market now? Absolutely not. None whatsoever. No reason whatsoever would I be shorting this market whatsoever. Okay, so this is not, you know, when I say 70-30, I mean that in the sense that we see this market still bullish, then we do see it bearish. Okay, in order for this market to turn bearish, where we say, okay, yeah, this market is really going down, one of the things that you have to keep in mind is, you know, if we look at this since 2009, okay, what I want to point out to you is look at this trend line right here. This is a predominant bullish trend line for the market. Okay, so until the day we see it close below here, this is not a bearish market. Okay, we can go to even the XPX and kind of do something very similar to that as well. We can do this. You can see here, this is the predominant trend line. So until the day we break below here, this trend line right here, do not even consider, you know, saying that this market is, you know, the bubble is bust and we are in a bearish market. Okay. The next question I have, or at least comments that I hear from people is like, oh, but what about if you lose all this right here? Okay. And if you look at what I just did right there, even if we, you know, from where it is right now, let's say we stayed away and we didn't, you know, trade this bearish market until it closed below there, we're only talking about 10%. Now, 10% is a lot for some people, but we're talking about only 10%. If this market is really going to go reverse and the bubble is really going to bust and we're going to see a 50% drop, well, we'll still be able to capture at least a good 20, 30% of that drop. Okay. So again, you know, just be patient. Look at the charts. The charts will tell you exactly what you need to know. Okay. So you don't have to jump into something too early, or worse yet, just make, you know, guesses that is not founded. Okay. Everything can be seen on the chart. So that's what we're looking at as far as the market is concerned. We'll wait till Monday to see if we see some kind of reversal signal in the market. If not, by Wednesday, we should know day by day. By Wednesday, we should know And if not, by the end of the week, we'll have a better picture based on the weekly chart to tell us whether or not this market is ready to go higher, stall, or go lower. Okay. Again, contact us at info@rightside-trading.com if you have any questions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll see some more stuff that we have to offer that will help you understand the market and make money in this market. Until then, remember to trade on the right side with confidence.